Welcome to Kevin Deal Photography, where I take you on my journey through photography. On today's episode, we're going to be doing an in-depth review of the Record Remote Button from Konova. I'm pleased to announce that I'm launching 3 Capture One style packs: Metamorphic Portraits, The Sound of Silver, and Rangefinder. These will eventually also be available for Lightroom, so if you go to kevindealphotography.com, scroll to the bottom of the homepage, and join my mailing list, I promise I won't send you spam, but I will let you know the second these release. And now, on to today's episode. Welcome to today's episode. If you're not familiar with Kevin Deal Photography, we do gear reviews, tips, techniques, and tutorials, and sometimes we dive into film. If any of that sounds appealing to you, click the subscribe button below. So today's review is not going to take too long because there's not a whole heck of a lot to review. No, this isn't a camera or a lens or a bag or a light. It's just a button. Now, why would you want to get this button? Well, we're going to talk about that in today's episode. But for those of you who just want to know right off the bat, does the Konova Record Button work? Yes, I've had 0 issues. It's worked just fine. So if you're a Fuji or a Panasonic or a Sony user watching this, and that's enough information for you to pull the trigger in the link in the description below, go ahead and do that right now. But for the rest of you who want to know what I think about it, the pros and cons and all that, we'll get into that right now. So it's still going to be a fast review. So first of all, let's talk about what this guy is. This is a wired remote record button that is meant to be put on your camera's hot shoe. So you could put it up high where your flash goes. You could also, if you have one of these handles, you could put it up here and have it right up here and you could hit it. And then there's the way I personally intend to use it. And I have one of these nice wooden grip handles. And so I'm just gonna slide this guy into my cold shoe mount on my small rig wooden grip handle. And then it goes into your camera's port. Now they do supply 2 different cables for the ports. This particular cable is compatible with both Fujifilm and Panasonic cameras. And then the other cable that they give you is compatible with Sony cameras. So one end goes into your camera's port. The other end goes into the USB-C port on the back of the unit. And that's all there is to it. You turn your camera on, you put it in video mode, you hit the button, and it starts recording. So let's talk about what I like about this. So far, it's been completely stable. I've had 0 issues. There's not any latency. When I hit the record button, it starts to record. When I hit the record button again, it stops recording. That's pretty much why you're buying it. That's pretty much what it does. There's not a huge latency from the time you hit record. It's pretty much instantaneous. It's no slower than maybe your EVF reacting to what you're seeing in real time. So no crazy latency, nothing that's gonna throw you off with timing. And so for that, it's doing an admirable job. Now, from a weight standpoint, this thing only weighs 16 grams or 0.58 ounces. That's incredibly light. You're not going to feel the extra weight on your rig, so we're going to go ahead and put that under the pros in addition to the fact that it works with no issues. Another cool pro about this guy is because you now have a button that is dedicated for recording. If your camera system, which most modern camera systems do this, you could reassign your record button to something else. So you've now purchased a new button on your camera that you can reassign to something else. So let's say you are hired to do a shoot that requires both video and stills. I'm happy to report that when you push this button, whether you're in video or stills mode, it triggers the camera. So you hit the button in video mode, it's recording video. You switch over to stills, you're shooting stills. This feels quite durable. I think this is a brushed aluminum top, and it also has really nice ergonomics, that indentation in there. It feels nice and smooth, very ergonomic for my thumb, just like these grooves on this wooden handle. It fits right in, and it seems to be part of a system. It's low profile, means it's not going to hit something very easy or catch on something really easily. So all in all pros. All things I love about this. Definitely something to consider if you want to get it. The cons, there's really not that many. And of course, some of these are debatable. I'm not too crazy about how all this extra cable is out here. I decided to wrap it around, but there's a little extra cable than I would have wanted. To be quite honest, I like things to be the exact length they need to be. Of course, they don't know what kind of camera you're going to be using. They don't know the size of your cage, so they erred on the side of giving you extra cable. But in the case of what I've got going on, I have extra cable. I'm not really sure where I want to put it, so I'm gonna have to spend some more time thinking about how I want this cable to go around my cage. Additionally, this is a very small setup, so if you don't leave this permanently attached to your handle, maybe you find a place in your bag that you're going to put it, make sure you know exactly where you're going to put it, because you could lose this rather easily. You can lose the cable pretty easily, so just make sure you have a special spot for this if you're going to store it in your bag. And then there's the last thing, and that is if you are watching this and you're a Canon shooter or you're a Nikon shooter, unfortunately, this product is not compatible with your cameras at current time. Now, do check the link in the description of this video, because maybe you're seeing this video a year after I release it, and maybe Konova releases a version for Nikon or Canon of this product. And I certainly hope they will, because I do my primary video recording on Canon. I'm actually recording myself on an R8 right now. So I would love to have something like this for my Canon cameras, and I'm sure Nikon users who are watching this video feel the same way. Now, who should purchase this remote button? Well, I would say that if you are a full-time videographer, think about all the different things that you buy for your rig, and most of them cost more than this. However, your recording button is something that you press and need rather often, and you probably want it located in a more convenient place, like right around where your left hand is and where your thumb could be. And so I think for that videographer, this is a no-brainer. I think if you're a hybrid photographer slash videographer, maybe you shoot weddings or events and you need to quickly switch between video and stills, I think you should also consider this. However, if you don't use this on the daily, this is probably not something that you would consider, because it costs $39.99. But maybe you shoot stills or some other genre of photography where you don't necessarily need to access a button like this often. If that's the case, you probably want to pass on this. This really isn't being marketed towards you. This is more of a videographer's tool, but definitely something to consider. For me personally, I think it's going to live on top of this handle, and I think it's going to be part of this XH2 rig when I shoot video moving forward. That being said, Konova, if you're listening, please do make this for both Nikon and Canon users. You're missing out on a huge market. That does it for today's episode. I want to thank each and every one of you for checking this out today. It's not a very long review because there's not a whole heck of a lot to review, but if you like what you saw, tell me about it in the comments below. Have you purchased this remote? Tell me about that in the comments below. And if you like this channel, I humbly ask you to click the subscribe button below, and if you like my opinions about photography and videography related subjects and you want to hear them in their more uncensored and raw form, I highly recommend you check out my other YouTube channel, the F11 Photography Podcast. And if you're just interested in audio-only versions of the podcast, it's available on both Apple and Spotify. And until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.